from Freedomtax. We're an accounting firm here in Central Florida. We are doing a series of videos to educate small business owners and helping them get accurate information on all the available programs out there to help their businesses during this coronavirus. Okay, in this video we're basically going to talk about let's say that you applied for your PPP and you didn't get it. Okay, I know that there are millions and millions of businesses out there that applied for the Paycheck Protection Program, and for some reason or another the funds were not approved. Now you can blame it on your bank, you can blame that the money went to a bigger business, but right now is no time to finger point. We just need to go to plan B, okay? Because you need to keep your business running, okay? So if you are a business owner that applied for the PPP program and for some reason you did not get the loan approved, you still have options. There are still programs available for you that can help you keep your business running and you can keep your employees, okay? Now, very important is that I want you to know that I'm recording this on April 23rd. The reason I stress this is because this stimulus package, it's ever evolving and it's constantly changing, okay? So the things I discussed today may change in the future. There may be more help available, or maybe rules can change, okay? So that's very important. Basically, we are a group of 4 companies. We have Freedomtax, we have Freedom Immigration, we have Freedom Realty, we also have Freedom Financial, where we're a group of 4 companies that can help business owners in several ways. We are a group of 39 professionals with more than 20 years of experience. We have CPAs, EAs, financial advisors, insurance agents, immigration lawyers, real estate professionals, so we can help business owners in many ways, okay? Now, as you may know, the 2 most popular SBA loans under the CARES Act was the PPP program and the EIDL, okay? Unfortunately, those funds went really quick. This week, they are approving more funds, but we are expecting to go, that will go fast as well, okay? So you need to prepare, okay? Now, PPP for the second round is still a good option. So if you do want to wait and try to get the PPP funds in this second round of funding from the government, please do so, okay? Because that's a very good program, okay? But if you apply for this second round of PPP and you didn't get it approved, you have options, okay? Or if you can't wait to see if you get your PPP approved, or if you don't qualify for PPP, you still have options, okay? Now, the 2 options that you have are the 2 following programs. There's the Employee Retention Credit and there's the Payroll Tax Deferral Program, okay? I'm gonna go over them in overview so you get the basics of these 2 programs, because they have many rules and I don't want this video to be too long, but we are gonna make separate videos with the details of both programs. But in this video, I just want to give you an overview so you know that you have options, okay? Now, these 2 programs you can use in conjunction. Depending on your case, you may use these two programs to help you with your cash flow, okay? Now, let's talk about the first one, the Employee Retention Credit. Basically, this is designed to encourage employers to keep people on payroll, okay? How? Basically, they're gonna give you a refundable tax credit, okay, where 50% of the wages, of qualified wages, that can include the health plan expenses, you can get a credit for that, okay? But very important, it's for full-time employees only, okay? And this credit is for wages that were paid after March 12th up until December 31st of this year, 2020. Okay, so from March 12th to December 31st of this year, 2020, you can use this credit. Okay, so basically, how does it work? Basically, you take the qualifying wages of an employee and you can ask for a tax credit up to the $10,000 in total wages you have paid that full-time employee. So if it's 50% of $10,000, you basically have up to $5,000. You have a $5,000 payroll tax credit per full-time employee. Basically, you're lowering your payroll tax liability. Okay. As employers, every quarter you have to file the Form 941 with your payroll tax payment. What this credit does is that you're going to apply that credit to that quarterly payroll payment. Okay, so you're lowering your payroll tax liability that you would usually need to send to the government. Okay, now you can apply for a credit, you can even get a refund, or you can ask for a credit advance. Okay, depending on your case. For example, how can you get a refund? Let's say that when you do the math for this program, your payroll tax liability is lower than the tax credit you can apply for. Okay, so let's say that when you calculate your tax credit, it's $7,000, but when you calculate your quarterly payroll tax payment is $5,000. So that $2,000, the IRS is going to consider it like if you overpaid. So you can ask for those $2,000 to get refunded to you, and that's immediately. Okay, they will send you a check. Okay, and in some cases you can even apply for an advance. You do so filling out Form 7200. That's the form that you use for this employee retention credit. Okay, now what is the formula for this credit? Basically, you take your qualified wages and you can add the qualified health expenses. Okay, and it's 50% of that. For example, suppose you pay an employee $1,000 of qualified wages. So for that employee, you can claim a credit of $500. Okay, in example 2, let's say you have an employee that you pay him $1,000 of qualified wages, but you also provide $500 of qualified employee health insurance. Okay, so in this case, you get a credit of 50% of $1,500. So that would be $750 of the payroll tax credit that you can claim for that employee. Okay, remember, this is per employee. So this can significantly lower your quarterly payroll tax payment. Okay. Now, the limit is up to $5,000 credit per employee during the year. So per employee during the year, you can only apply up to $5,000. Okay, so you have second, third, and fourth quarter of 2020 to claim that credit. You can even go back to first quarter. There is a way of doing it. Okay, now there is a limit for the first $10,000 of qualified wages. For example, let's say your firm has 2 workers. One worker you pay $10,000 in wages, and for him you receive a $5,000 employee retention credit. Okay, now for the second worker, you pay him $20,000 in wages. Okay, but even though you paid him $20,000, you can only claim the credit for the first $10,000. So you would also receive a $5,000 employee retention credit for that employee as well. Okay, Now, does my business qualify to receive this credit? Okay, your business needs to fall into one of these two categories. Okay, the business must be fully or partially closed due to a government order due to coronavirus. Okay, so that's many of you out there. Okay, also, let's say that you aren't closed, that you fall into the category of an essential business, so you are operating, but your quarterly revenue is 50% lower than the same quarter of last year. Okay, so if your revenue for second quarter of 2020 is 50% less than second quarter of 2019, you can apply for this credit. Now, if your quarterly revenues reach above 80% of what it was in 2019, you can no longer qualify for the credit for that quarter. Okay, there are some rules for businesses that have over 100 employees. Okay, but that we're going to discuss in another video. Okay, and if you did get PPP, you cannot apply for this credit as well. Okay, now that was the first program. Okay, this is the second program, okay, available, which is a good option as well for people who did not get their PPP. Okay, this is another option, but this one we need to be a little bit more careful, and I would really recommend to use this as last resort, and I'll show you why. Okay, the payroll tax deferral basically allows your business to postpone some of the payroll taxes that you have to send to the government, and you're deferring them to pay them at a later date. Okay, so for example, when you have to file your 941 and you calculate your payroll tax payment that you need to send, basically you are deferring 50% of the Social Security taxes. So that's your portion as an employer that you would need to pay. You're going to defer that to pay them at a later date. Okay, now that's for wages earned from March 27th to December 31st. Okay, now nearly all businesses and self-employed individuals are eligible for this deferral. Okay, and once again, if you got PPP, you cannot claim this deferral. Okay, so basically, when we do our quarterly payroll reports, we as employers, we have to chip in 50% of the Social Security taxes for our employee. That portion you can defer. You still have to send in the employee's portion. That is not deferred. Okay, now right, how do you do the accounting for this payroll tax deferral? Basically, the IRS has stated that they are going to come out with a new Form 941. So when your quarterly payroll tax time comes, in this form, you're going to be able to defer the payment, your portion of the payment. Okay? If you're self-employed, you can defer the payments from IRS Form 1040 ES, which is basically where you send in your estimated payment. Okay? Now, for self-employed, you should be aware that the other 50% of the Social Security tax is not deferred and could be subject to penalties. Okay? Now, when do you have to pay that deferred payment? Okay? So whatever you defer in 2020, you need to at least pay 50% by December 31st of 2021, and then the other 50% you need to pay by December 31st of 2022. So you're basically deferring this payment like an interest-free loan for 2 years. Okay? So that should help with your cash flow. Now, this is why this program, we need to be careful, and I would only suggest this as last resort. Okay? Even though you can defer this tax payment, this does not change the personal liability of the responsible persons for the fund portion of their withheld taxes. You as the business owner, okay, you are responsible to send these Social Security taxes, that portion, for your employees. Okay, so we feel it's a very dangerous game because payroll taxes are basically the most sacred of funds in the eyes of the IRS. Okay, so even you're deferring them, if you can't pay them in the future, you can be subject to civil and criminal penalties. Okay, so you gotta make sure that you pay it back. Okay, that's basically the two programs that you have available. We still feel PPP is the best option, but if you can't get PPP, you still have these two options. Now, I always put this slide up because unfortunately there's some people out there taking advantage of business owners that are desperate to keep their business running. Okay, so there's a lot of fraud going out there. Okay, no one can guarantee you approval of an SBA loan in exchange for an advance payment. Okay, also people are getting letters and emails with the SBA logo. That doesn't mean they're official. The SBA logo is this logo that's here. Okay, so if you do suspect fraud, please report it to the office of the Inspector General, and you can call it here at this number. Okay, so I hope this video can help. Once again, each business is different, but we are available to help if you need any kind of advice in getting these loans or helping you apply for these tax credits. Okay, for now we will keep trusting God that He is in control of this situation. We trust that everything will be fine. We really encourage you to read Psalm 91 of the Bible. It really helps during these times. So once again, this is our contact information. We're Freedom Tax Accounting, and we're here to help any way we can. Okay? Well, God bless you.